live now. You can go ahead and reshare the stream.
Okay, sir.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful section this afternoon. This is break time, and we're having a wonderful time here on this section of what's love got to do with leadership and management. So I want to welcome everyone heartily. And today we have among the finest in the IPM faculty, we have Dr. Ifoma Eze. So most of us are conversant with her. When she comes on board, she will introduce herself. We also have Dr. Basi, who is also somehow conversant. He has not come on this year, so if you joined us newly this year, you don't know him yet. Okay. So we also have Dr. Larry Phillips. If you also joined us this year, you might not have known him. And then we'll also have Dr. Oshati. So we have them to be discussing with us on this concept of love in leadership and love in management. Now, the premise of our discussion is actually a function of the outbreak of what we experienced during COVID. So during COVID, we actually found out that most organizations were exposed to the depth to which they care or they don't care about their staff. And even till now, the impact of COVID is still unraveling a whole lot of things. And then we also look at in terms of politics, we also look in terms of politics. We also see that most of the people we consider as our leaders do not really pay much attention to the needs of the people. So what we're here to do is to find out, does love really matter in leadership, both at the corporate level and at the national political level? So we are just having a Valentine discussion. And please, all your comments, all your questions, send them out in the chat room, and then we'll be picking it one after the other. So my co-moderator today is Damilola Olani, and I'll be calling him up to take over from here. So Dami, you're welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Banito. It's another wonderful day with every one of us here today, and I believe that we are ready to learn. It's a season of love. We are anticipating for this moment, and we have our guests, our experts in the room with us, and they are ready to, give us what we need and beyond what we actually need. So please take out your writing materials, invite your friends, your colleagues, your staff. Let's learn together within the short time we are going to spend here. All right, you're welcome once again. Thank you. All right, so because of our time, we need to just delve deeper into this now. I will start with Dr. Ifoma. The concept of love is actually a big one that we cannot literally explain in just a moment like this. But I believe that within the short time we are going to spend together, you help us give some explanation that we help people to learn more about love and how we can relate with people in our organizations and different places. What is love and leadership? I want to put it to you now, Dr. Ifoma. What is love and leadership? If we should
all right. Yes, all right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. Let me start by saying what love is. There's a lot of misconception about the term love. Many people assume it to be a tingling feeling in your body or a butterflies in your stomach and stuff like that. But love is quite deeper than that, And there are four basic types of love. There is the filial love, that is the brotherly love, the sisterly love, the love that people just share amongst themselves, especially when they are connected either within an organization, connected within a company, connected by family and stuff like that. Then there is another kind of love called the storge love. This kind of love is the love that exist in most organizations between a boss and a subordinate, between a superior and a subordinate, or between one person, somebody who pays somebody, like somebody who employed somebody and pays salary. So between an employer and an employee, this is the kind of love that's called storge love. And then there is another that is called the eros love. The eros love is what we see every day in the movies. It's the same kind of love that exists sometimes with married couples, and sometimes with people who we are not married with too. That's what we now begin to call adultery and stuff like that, and extramarital affairs. And then the fourth type of love is what we call the agape love, the God kind of love. This love is unconditional. It's not tied to anything. You have the love of God in your heart and you extend it to others. And if we understand love through these four dimensions, it will be easy for us to apply them to leadership. So to answer your question, what is love and leadership? How do these two marry? Those two marry because for you to be a leader, you must be influencing somebody or a group of people towards a common purpose, towards a common goal. And for you to do that, you do not have to coerce people to do what you want them to do, which means that there is a level of influence, and this influence comes by love. And the kind of love we are talking about now will not necessarily be just the storge, will not necessarily be just the filial, but will also be the God kind of love, knowing that this person is a human being. This is why, as an emotional intelligence expert, I will tell you that empathy is very, very key for leadership. There is no way you can lead people without touching their heart first. So if you want their hand, you must first touch their heart. And many leaders miss out on this. And as a matter of, at the end of the day, they become more managers than they should be leaders, because they are not able, they just work like machines, like the scientific theory of Frederick Taylor. They just work like machines. They treat people like machines. They are focused on output, on profit, on results, and they forget that the people they are leading are actually human beings. So there is a need for leadership and love to marry themselves. So as every leader who is tuning in, who is listening, should make sure that one way or the other, they are able to introduce love in what they are doing. That's what makes you an exceptional leader. Because if you do not add love to it, if you do not add empathy to it, at the end of the day, you will be an autocratic leader. So an autocratic leader will not have any form of love in him or her, but somebody who is able to lead people, who understands people, who sees things from people's perspective, who is able to tune into people's feelings, will be a far more better leader than any other leader who does not apply those. So for you to be like a transformational leader, for you to be a charismatic leader, you don't just need just the things that you have. You need to tune into people, and this is where love and leadership marries themselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ifeoma, for sharing such light on the different kinds of love and all of that. Okay, so that is Dr. Ifeoma speaking as an emotional intelligence expert, speaking as a religious leader, speaking as a mother, speaking as an administrator, and all of that. Okay, so let's get to Dr. Bassi. Dr. Bassi is a corporate leader. Dr. Bassi is a politician. Dr. Bassi is a father. Dr. Bassi is a consultant. So I want him to marry all of his shoes together. More of the cap of a political leader and that of a corporate leader. Most often it's considered that, just like Dr. Ifeoma said, that we've turned out more of managers than leaders. And the question is, how true is it that organizations are much more profit-centered than human-centered? Please, Dr. Bassi, if we can hear from you, we really appreciate it. How much truth is that organizations are much more profit-centered than people-centered, both public and private?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just, maybe from this one, I may not be able to talk much again, okay, but I need to just be listening and not to contribute. Now, every organization there must be something that they are contributing. If it is non-profit, definitely they must do something to help the society. So there must be a bottom line they are up to. But if it is a private, the whole thing and whole idea is up to the bottom line and then must be profit driven. If not, also those business will not be in will not have continuity. But what Dr. Ifoma was talking about as regard to bringing in emotion, bringing in to look at, that is fantastic. And I love that. And that's just the best way to go. But you need to ensure also that in as much as possible that you put profit in mind, you should be able to consider also the people. In every organization, there are four cardinal things that make organization to continue to grow, to be sustainable, and to attain the heights. Number one is what we call process. Putting process in place that are strong, putting process in place that are acceptable, and then also that align with the culture of the organization. So that process is key. And what are processes? Processes are what are the laws, what are the norms, what are the culture, what are the policies that are put in place in order for us to guide our behavior to achieve results in an organization. The second is organizational structure. A structure of an organization is key to organizational delivery, or whether profit you are delivering, and whatever that you want to deliver, the organization must have a strong structure. Why do we need to have a structure? So that they can be ordered, they can be a reporting line, so that things will not just be done anyhow. There should be a kind of things will be streamlined from top down, from department, whatsoever the way the organization is, but there must be a structure. And then that structure also help organization so that individuals are not stronger than the organization. So even if maybe there's a lot of staff, maybe there's a transfer of knowledge, or that there's issue of talent management, that organization also can survive. Why? There's a structure in place. The third one, which is most important, is the people. And I want to build up from what Ifoma just said, that the people are the life wire, they're the backbone of every organization. Now, if the structure is faulty, the process is faulty, the people will not function well. Now, if you have the right people, you have the right structure, and the process is faulty, the organization will be dysfunctional. So it must be right. But let me say this, when you have the right structure, you have the right process, you have wrong people, organization also will not deliver results. Everything must balance. Now, where we always get it right is we don't put good structure in place, you don't put good processes in place, and expect people to do things that is beyond them. So organization tends to press on the target, press on people to give results, but there are no processes, there are no structures. And then there will be a conflict between the two. And the issue of love, the issue of togetherness, the issue of management will be a challenge. But I can say this clearly, if there are also no process in place or good structure in place, the people also will not be able to maximize their potentials, and they can they'll be complaining, and things will not go well. Now, I do not want to go to this emotional intelligence thing because it's a whole course of its own. But the truth is, emotion, everybody must understand emotion in management. Emotion can play. Everybody can have a bad day in the morning and come to work. Everybody can have bad day in the evening, I mean, because of the work. But how we manage it affects our daily work. We shouldn't also behave like we are on island. In every organization, somebody must say something that will affect you, that you feel unloved, that you feel maybe the person is working against you. But one thing is paramount is if there are structure, it will affect you as an individual. Now, you brought a history, I mean, you gave us a background from COVID to now organizations. That's fantastic. But the truth is, a lot of organizations survive not because their people are strong, not because their structure are strong, but their processes are in place and people are communicated about it. They build organizational culture around these people and they're able to deliver results. So my only contribution here is organization cannot love you when you also don't love the organization. Organization can't give you something that you put in. There's a book I read, two of them, but called Secret and then Positive. In those books, I learned something greatly by Rhoda Jones. is whatsoever you expect in life, you deposit it. You can't go to bank to withdraw money that is not there. So if you need love from the organization, you need love from your manager, deposit love to the organization. So by the time a time of withdrawal comes, you begin to withdraw love. If you want maybe high pay for the organization, put high performance. Keep putting high performance. Then you'll be able to withdraw reward of it at the end of the day. But one of the most important thing is when we look at it as the organization is centered around a person. So the issue of whether discipline, reward, the issue of love, we are looking at it around a person, which is maybe the picture or maybe the representative or the symbol of the organization. You will miss it. So whether love, whether management, whether leadership, the organization at the center point to drive it. So the vision of the organization, the mission statement of the organization, what the organization believes, so how is it communicated, process in place, structure in place, will give you that understanding. So leadership, love, and management is something that is not centered on individuals, but centered on the people, centered on structure, and centered on processes. Thank you. As I said, I might not contribute immediately now because I have an important personality in front of me to attend to. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so Dami, over to you.
Still here anyway. Not that I'm going. I'm here.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, I mean, Dr. Bassi, he has said a lot. I've been writing and writing. I believe we are all learning as well. So I want to bring this to you now, Dr. Ifoma. You actually said something previously about, being connected to people you are leading in your organization. Now, let's look at this way. They say that love knows no boundary. How can leaders extend their leadership love beyond their immediate cycle to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion within their organization and constituency, and still find ways to connect to people's emotion to lead them right? Did you get the question, Ma?
Yes, I get the question. It falls into some of the things that Dr. Bassi shared. When we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, all of these things are things that should be structured into the policy of the organization. Now, if the organization itself has a policy that is clear on inclusion, that is clear on diversity, that is clear on equity, at the end of the day, it will carry, the processes will just automatically roll themselves out. So when it comes to employment, equity is considered. When it comes to employment, inclusion is considered, diversity is considered. If all of these things are ingrained in the policy of any organization, it will play themselves out, even in the processes that the managers will handle. So it does not become a personal thing. So it's not just about the leader reaching out to an individual, because the policies already is taking care of that aspect. Now, on the aspect of tuning into individuals, leaders, there's always a hierarchy for every organization. So based on the hierarchy, leaders should be taught within organizations. They should be empowered. They should be trained. Even in an organization like IIPM, they should be trained with in our programs like emotional intelligence that will help them to lead better within their own organizations. That way, we see a superior does not have to jump ranks, all right, to be able to reach out or tune into another person. Your direct supervisor, your direct leader, your direct superior will know what to do, will know how to make you feel the love of the organization. So it's not going to look like it's a personal relationship between the superior and the subordinate. It's not going to look like a personal relationship between the employer and the employee. While it has a personal face, but it is love that is also shown through the system. Have you seen people who resign from their job, high-paying jobs too, because they feel like they are not loved there? They feel like they don't belong there. They feel like let me go to a place where I am welcome, a place where I am celebrated. I know a number of people who have quit their jobs, just not because they are not being paid well, but because they fell ill and nobody reached out to them. They had issues, they were bereaved and nobody told them, sorry about your loss, or we even consider. It's true that they may not be able to bring back the dead for them, but at least just that human empathy is lacking there. So we cannot underestimate or undervalue the place of love, empathy within organizations. Just like you asked, the equality, the equity, the inclusion, diversity, all of these things are things that are ways through which organizations can show love to their own people. But this has to be done ingrained in the policies and in the processes. When the policy is considerate, when the policy is drafted with empathy in mind, when the processes are organized with empathy in mind, you will be surprised at the turnout, and people in the organization will feel like our organization cares for us, our organization loves us. There is a policy that is very, very comfortable for a woman in maternity. There is a policy that is very comfortable for somebody who wants to study and advance their education. There is a policy in place that is comfortable for somebody who, in case somebody gets bereaved or somebody has accident. These are the things that organizations can do as a whole to show love to the people who work in the organization. And we should be careful, because no matter how powerful your structures are, no matter how powerful your policies or your processes are, without considering the people, without considering the emotions and the feelings of the people, at the end of the day, that organization will be grounded. Every organization that must thrive, especially in this time and in this age, must be an organization that is people-centric, that is concentrating on the feelings of people, on the emotions of people, or what people are doing. There is nothing wrong in an organization deciding to say, okay, this is happening in our country. Like we just finished the AFCON matches, and an organization say, okay, we work by this time that this football is going on. Okay, for this time we're going to have a short break, a 90 minutes break. Let's all just sit back and watch this match. You know, it creates bonding, it creates understanding. It means that this organization is tuning into what the people is feeling per time, and we cannot underestimate that. And people are going through a lot of hard time and tough time, and I don't believe it's just peculiar to Nigeria. While our own may be unique and different, other people across all the other parts of the world are also going through difficult time. The least we can do is, as organizations, as leaders, is to tell people we care. And it is commonly said that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So this aspect of love in leadership, involving inclusion, APT, diversity, all of this needs to be put in place and considered while leading. Thank you. I'm trying not to stretch the answers. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Ifoma. That was powerful. I wanted to confirm if Dr. Bass is still with us, because I have a question for him.
He said he will not be available for questions, but he will follow up online. So
okay. All right. Looking at what you said earlier about how leaders should embrace the part of empathy in our organization and society. It is very important, as we are in this room today, we are all learning.
Yes.
I just want to ask, what is the impact of love when it comes to learning process? I mean, how can we embrace love when people find themselves in the environment to learn? How can we make love more palpable, something that we can feel or see? Even when you are meeting people that you've not seen them, before, but you just, maybe you are in a conference and there's a need for you to group yourself in a team, and when you are in a team, there's no need. We don't want to know whether you are the smartest or you the best. So we just want to know what you are bringing to the desk. How can we learn from you? How can we achieve what we are here for? So how can you bring love into
a learning environment, right?
Yeah, those that you've not met before, but for a purpose of something that you need to achieve at that moment.
Yeah. All right. How many of us, you inclusive, that is asking me the question, how many of us remember one favorite teacher in our primary school or secondary school, or even the university? How well did you do in those subjects or courses? I know that we are in a YouTube setting, so everybody may not be able to answer me, but just drop your comments in the comment section on the YouTube. I'll check it back later. Everyone who had a teacher who was like their favorite teacher, who was kind to them, who was nice to them, who showed them love, you notice that we would do better in those subjects. Now, think of all the other subjects that you didn't do well in. What happened between you and that teacher? You didn't like the teacher. You didn't like the teacher. In fact, this affected me even while I was in secondary school. I liked geography as a course, as a subject, but I didn't have a good teacher for geography. This teacher made me to hate geography. But when I grew up, I knew that I was going to travel to many countries. I was going to travel to many places. And I needed the knowledge of geography. I had to start learning geography outside school. And I really discovered that I had love for geography. Not like I'm practicing it or anything. But then you see that even a teacher, somebody who is teaching, can make you love a particular learning process or hate it in its entirety. There are courses that people have failed basically because they could not connect with the teacher. And in a learning environment, bringing it to this kind of platform where we have to learn and everybody has to follow online, especially people you are not seeing physically, there is still need for you as a teacher, as a lecturer, as a facilitator of a program to do well to connect with the people that you are speaking to relate with them, to make them know that you understand the sacrifices they are making. In Nigeria, especially, that you understand that they are burning their data in order to connect with you. Mr. Damilola, are you still there?
Yes, we're still here.
All right, Dr. Benito, thank you for joining us back. All right, so it's essential that you let the people, even though distance has barricaded you and those people, but even through the screens, even through technology, people can truly know that you are connecting with them. Everyone that is on this learning platform right now can easily tell by my voice, by my tone, by the things I'm saying, if I am just saying these things absent-mindedly, or
right,
if I am connecting with the challenges that you are facing as a person. So bringing love into a learning environment is the role of the teacher, and even also the role of the listener. Do you know how we can show you love from this platform as facilitators? Is that we connect with you. Is that we before we start the program, we find out how is your day going, what's up with you, and when we bring in this teaching, we don't just feed you with jargons. We don't just tell you all the terminologies. You know, I'm not one for that. I try to break down my teachings, most especially, and relate it with everyday life, so that you know that what I'm teaching is not one ambiguous kind of thing. It's not vague. This is something you can apply in virtually every single thing that you do. And then as a listener, how do you show us love? By commenting, you know, telling us, thank you, we get it, okay, emphasizing, re-emphasizing, even dropping comments. And I believe that even as facilitators, we may not know everything. So there is one comment you would drop, one thought you would drop in the comment section that would make us to learn more. So we didn't just come to teach, we also came to learn. So love is essential in the learning environment. I remember when my son was really a child, I think he was 3 or 4 then. He didn't he wasn't one of the early shooters. My first son was an early shooter, but he came just a little bit behind. But that did not in any way make him a dull person or make him not to be a high flyer today. But then, as at then, he couldn't really write like others. He couldn't really read like others. And then I remember one of the days when I asked him, what are you doing, son? Why? He said, no, I don't want to do a book. I want to preach like my daddy because my teacher told me I cannot read, I cannot write. You know, and it was annoying. I told him, go, your daddy who preaches, he's a university graduate. He reads, he writes his messages, and he reads books, he reads the Bible. So Everything. Teachers should be kinder. Teachers should be more empathetic to the people they are teaching. When you teach, don't teach people as if with this high-mindedness. Remember that there is no way you will know everything. I cannot claim to know everything. As a matter of fact, there are people who are listening to me right now whose intellectual prowess I crave for.
Okay.
So the fact that I'm the facilitator right now does not mean that I am all known, vast in all kinds of knowledge. No.
All right, Dr. Ifoma.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making it much more practical and bringing your personal experiences, and that's what we're talking about. Thank you so much. Okay, so we just have about 24 minutes to go, and we still have quite a number of questions. So what we're trying to do now is that for anyone we are getting a question, to try as much as possible to keep it within 60 seconds to 90 seconds so that we can attend to all of the questions.
Fine. Yeah.
And I want to sincerely appreciate one more time all of our guest speakers for coming. Dr. Shati is in the house, so we can appreciate her also.
Yeah.
We have Dr. Larry also. He's also in the house. So we appreciate them very well. So please, for Dr. Shati and Dr. Larry, please, when we throw a question to you, you can take a moment to introduce yourself and then go ahead and answer your question. And the next question is going to Dr. Shati. So Dr. Shati, I'm picking your question from the chat room. Somebody has already asked a question, and I'm going to pick that question from there and send it to Dr. Shati. So the person said, how can employees orchestrate love in an organization and make it part of the organization? So I'm going to make it this way. How can leaders in organizations orchestrate love and make it part of the organization? So over to you, Dr. Shati.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I'm happy to be part of this discussion this afternoon. Like he has said, I'm Dr. Mrs. Titilola Oshati. I'm a productivity practitioner, director in National Productivity Center, especially in a capacity building department. I'm a trainer. So your question, how can, if I can hear you clearly, please, how can somebody in an organization be loved and be able to show love to others, or what, please, Doctor?
How can leaders
okay,
orchestrate love in an organization and make it part of the organization?
Okay, thank you very much. You know, when we talk about organizational culture, an organization that has a culture of love will be able to do that. You know, when as a leader, you accept everyone given to you or being transferred to your department to work with, you will not relegate anyone to the background, because each and everyone in the department has a portion, has something to contribute to whatever they are doing in that department. Let me just talk about a department now, and then overall to the organization. There's no one that is useless. But when you begin to see that, and when you begin to compare a staff with the other, that will cause hatred. And that will cause you to prefer one to the other. Somebody that is good technically
Dr. Shati tends to be having a little technical glitch there.
Yeah.
Okay, she tends to have a little technical glitch, but she had mentioned some important things about establishing love in an organization, starting from the culture and trying as much as you can not to run comparison. And this goes back to where Dr. Bassi started from, talking about organizational structure, organizational culture, processes, and people. Okay, so to the person that asked the question, Mr. Charles, the foundation to initiating love in an organization has to be boiled down to the culture of the organization, to the culture of the organization. And you as a leader, try as much as you can not to run by comparison and not to run by favoritism. All right, so while we await Dr. Shati to be back, our next question will go to Dr. Larry. Dr. Larry is, okay, he will take a moment and introduce himself. Okay, so the question we have for Dr. Larry here is, let me get the question. Where's Dr. Larry's question? Okay. Where is Dr. Larry's question?
I think the question may be very big.
This question is being dug out. Some great academics.
Now you're getting me very worried.
The question has been here. Where did the question go to?
Okay, maybe while you are looking for that big question, I can actually throw the small one that I have with me here.
Okay,
So you can. All right. Thank you, Dr. Banito. Thank you so much, Dr. Phillips, to have you here, sir. Before Dr. Banito, spoke, I was thinking about the concept of love when it comes to active listening and how to be genuine enough to care for people. So I want to ask, as a leader, how can a leader ensure that every voice is heard and valued within their team or organization?
Okay, good question, Damlola. Thank you for that question. And for me, we even need to look at the concept of organization and whether by default. Yes. Sorry,
sir, we are not seeing your face. Is that intentional?
Can I plead that I stay off camera? I'm in a place where it's not very okay to put on the camera. That's why.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I apologize for that. So if you check ab initio, by default, the concept of an organization in itself, doesn't foster love. And if you know me well, I like to make very, very contradictory statements, and I'll explain what I mean. An organization is a place where different people from different backgrounds, different thought processes, different development levels, different idiosyncrasies, different environments have come together to come and work towards one selfish goal. Usually that selfish goal is not their individual goal. Are you with me, Damilola? So yes, that means you have put a group of people together to work towards an organization's goal, which usually is selfish. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I own a bank. I want to make $2 billion as profit in a year. That is the organization's goal. And I've brought people together to come and help me achieve that goal, which usually is selfish. So in itself, ab initio, the way organizations are set up, there truly is no love there. Where love starts to come is where leadership makes a conscious effort to stop what exists ab initio and create an atmosphere where love thrives. So if you leave an organization to run the way it's meant to run normally, there won't be love. That's the reality. Okay. So in organizations that thrive on empathy, organizations that thrive on active listening, you will discover that the leaders in those organizations had to do something different. Okay. My biggest mentor is Sir Richard Branson, Virgin. I've read virtually all his books. I've had the opportunity to meet him physically twice. And you don't need a soothsayer to tell you that love runs in Virgin and in all of his organizations. Okay, because he believes, unlike most literary giants who have spoken about how a company should run, he believes that the most important people in an organization are not even the customers. Most books you read, most articles you read, most thought leaders have said it's the customers. For him, he has said no. He said his staff are the most important people because it's the staff that will give the customers the value. Happy staff leads to happy customers. That's what he said. You know, but for most people, for most organizations, they will focus on the customer first. And because you are focusing on the customer first, you are driving things without putting the staff in perspective. Okay, so back to your question. Active listening has to be developed by leadership, and it is not something that comes easily. Let me be true to you. Maybe I should have started by introducing myself. I'm a speaker. This is what I do for a living. There's nobody on the surface of the earth that does not like his voice being heard on the microphone. Nobody. So our default setting is to be heard rather than hear. When you stand in front of 10,000 people and you are giving a speech, you are happy, especially when you see a few people in the crowd nodding. Okay, so we were born selfish. That is our default nature as human beings. And so we need to do a lot more to be able to change that. And that's why leadership comes in. And that's where leadership comes in. And this does not come by default. Leadership has to be deliberate because, as a matter of fact, what leadership is doing is fighting against your default position. Okay, so that you can instill a culture of active listening in your organization and by extension, create a culture of love within the organization. I hope that answers your question, Dami.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Larry. And I thank you for having to take that personal stand that organizations by default run through selfish pillar. Okay, so we need to dismantle that pillar through a conscious effort of introducing love for us to be able to have love come to play. Now, the question that I really have for Dr. Larry is coming after this question that I'm going to ask Dr. Shati. Then Dami will take on the last question. Is it the last question? Okay, so one of the questions. Back to Dr. Ifoma. So my question to Dr. Larry, please, Dr. Larry, just pick the question, ruminate over it. Then after Dr. Shati had rounded up our own section, you can now come back with your own answer. So Dr. Shati, I trust you can hear me loud and clear. Please, if you can hear me, let's confirm. Okay. Dr. Shati, can you hear me? Okay, so if Dr. Shati is not hearing me at the moment, maybe I should go straight to Dr. Larry. So Dr. Larry, this is my question. I've known you for a while. I think I've known you since 2017, and it's been a wonderful time knowing you. And I can comfortably say I know some of your soft spots, among which is SMEs, small, medium, or would I say MSMEs, micro, very small. Okay. So recently, Dr. Larry flagged up an announcement requesting a call for people, MSMEs that are coming in for a program, and then they are going to have seed capital. I think seed capital of up to $2,500 or so. And I asked to be part of it. Dr. Larry said, I'm above this. So I want to confirm now, is that one part of love?
Okay. We now understand why it took time to get this question.
This is really the big question. So let me explain. And I'm glad that Badito started from the fact that we've known each other for I mean, since 2017 to date is 7 years. That's a long time. So, and we've not just known each other, we've interacted. I mean, I don't think there's any passing week that we don't chat or we don't check up on each other, you know, and he's somebody that shows me a lot of honor. In fact, I doubt if there's anybody in the world that shows me as much honor as he does. And I'm saying this openly today. And so for me, Badito, you're somebody very dear to me. I mean, I was the one that shared it, and if somebody else needed that kind of impact, if it wasn't you, I'll be glad to, you know, support. But because I know you, and because I know the brand that you are running, and because I know the vision that you have, you've shared it with me too many times, and because I know the journey, I mean, I don't know the destination. I'm sure you don't even know the destination, but because I know the path of your journey, it would also be a disservice to you, okay, when distractions come on the way, and I know that these are distractions, you know, to allow you to get distracted. You know, I think, and I'm sure that you know that everything that I do towards you is love. So I'm glad that you actually appreciate the fact that I told you to take your eyes off that one, because it is little for you. So what I've found out in the course of my career is, and I get these offers all the time. Yesterday, I got an offer from a company, okay, in Nigeria, one of the biggest companies, really, a lot of money being thrown at me. But I knew that if I take up this engagement, I knew that would I get money? Yes, a lot of money. Would it possibly make me happy in the short term? And I'm saying very short term, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe buy a business class ticket going forward when I want to travel. Yes, perhaps. However, 3 months down the line, would it still make me happy? Maybe not. And Banito knows, 4 years ago in 2020, I went through depression. Now, for those of you that have met me before, I'm the life of the party. Everybody, nobody could believe that I went through depression. I'm the one that makes everybody happy. So this is now me going into depression. Okay. So I've learned to be more circumspect about the things that can give me mental health issues. And I believe very, very strongly that everybody deserves to be happy. And happiness is not in terms of money. A lot of us get it wrong. Happiness is in terms of gratitude and contentment. Okay. One of the things that my friend and Banito knows into Wale Ajiboye told me when I was in depression, and I think that was even what got me out. He said, "Look, like depression is an expression of ingratitude. You know that everybody that is depressed is something that you are not grateful about, and that's what leads to it." And you know that took me out of that depression, because I started to look at all the great things that I've accomplished and still accomplishing, and I'm wondering, why am I feeling this way? Okay, so for me, the state of your mental health is exceedingly important. Imagine putting so much work into something, and then all you get from it is $2,500, when you can put the same level of work into something and get $20,000 or $50,000. Okay. So at the end of the day, in the long run, you will come and look at the man that gave you the opportunity of $2,500, and you will tag him as wicked. Okay. As against, especially when he knew that you would do the same work and earn a lot more. Okay. And I hope, Banito, I hope that you believe my explanation, and I hope that you know that what lies between us is genuine love, and it can't even be less than that.
Okay. I'm actually surprised that you answered the question, because that was not the question. That was not the question I was going to ask you. But thank you for answering the question. So I'm going to ask you the question now, so that you will answer it after Dr. Shati has done her own part. And this is my question. Remember where I started from, that I know your love runs around MSMEs. So in a world often driven by competition, when I mean competition, hyper competition, and you've also established that of self-interest, how can leaders, in this case now, I listened to your clip when you made that appearance on air, talking about the role of government and other leaders in driving SMEs. So in a world of this hyper competition, self-interest, everything is self, how can leaders demonstrate that love and collaboration are essential for achieving shared goals and success in leadership and management. And I would like you to look at this from the aspect of the corporate domain and also from the aspect being also part of the public players. I also want to look at it from the national participation, national leadership participation. Okay, but remember I said your question, you will take time to ruminate over it. Then let Dr. Shati just give a voice to this because we're rounding up now. So how can leaders show real love and collaboration, or show that love and collaboration has a role to play in driving national development, corporate development, and all-round development? So that's for Dr. Larry. And then for Dr. Shati, as we round up, they say love is all about trust. Love is all about trust. So how can leaders really build trust within their teams? If love requires trust, how can leaders build trust within their teams? If we can get that answer in about 2 minutes, that would be so much appreciated. So Dr. Shati, please kindly unmute and let's hear from you. Okay, so Dr. Shati, your mic is still muted.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, the leaders can build trust in their followership, and the followers can build trust in their leader when both of them understand themselves, and when the leaders allow the followers to do whatever they want to do without favoritism. When you don't favor this, if you don't favor one staff over the other, and you allow everyone, talk about the competition, you allow everyone to come at their own pace. What I can do, I'll be able to deliver to you, and what the other person can do, you'll be able to deliver to you. And again, by then you'll be able to meet your goal. You'll be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. But when a leader that doesn't show love, and you want people to trust them, when you are exposing their shortcomings to everybody, or you are running down a staff before others because you believe that the other person is the one that is really doing the work in your department or in your organization, they will never trust you. When you show love, you will not show partiality. At the same time, people they will have a trust in you, that when they confide in you or whatever they do, they will be able to tell everybody that it is we that have achieved it, not mentioning names that this person or the other have not done anything. But when they see that, they will be, even those ones that are not able to do anything, they will be able to go back and learn more and be able to achieve whatever task be given unto them. And there are some leaders that when staff are confined on them, maybe their problem, the reason why they are not meeting up to standard in whatever they are doing, if you're using it to abuse them in the front of every other person in the office or in the organization, using that as a bad example, there is no way that staff or the follower will be able to build a trust in such a leader. When anybody confine anything with you, you don't need to expose the person. Allow everybody to walk at their own pace. I'm not saying that we should not rebuke or we should not punish laziness or whatever, but you should encourage them. And everybody has his own way of doing things. Don't expect everybody to do it at the same time or at the same level. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. You've spoken of so much, spoken with so much wisdom. You talked about privacy. You talked about managing people according to their individual differences, coaching and mentoring them at the same time. Try not to compare and contrast if that's possible. Okay, so you've spoken so much wisdom, and I trust everyone here is learning. So our time is up, but we're just going to take an extra 5 minutes. And in that extra 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then we will be done. Now, if you've not liked the stream, if you've not shared, if you've not asked your question, feel free to go ahead, go ahead, comment, go ahead and subscribe. All right. Okay, so I'm going to, Dr. Larry is still on. So we're going to take just one question from Dr. Ifoma as a round-off question. Then I will take one, Dr. Larry will come and answer his question in full measure. And then we just round up with closing thoughts. Thank you so much. So, Dami, can you hit Dr. Ifoma with just one question?
Sorry, I will do my summary also.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
sir. All right.
Okay. No problem, sir. All right. So can you shoot Dr. Ifoma with one question?
All right. Yeah, interesting. I've been, thinking about this question before you even asked me to, go ahead and ask Dr. Ifoma. All right. So, Dr. Ifoma, this is your area, and I believe that you have a very good answer to this question. We believe that love is patient and understanding. So, looking at it as a leader, how can leader through patience and empathy navigate a conflict or crisis situation effectively in organization? How can leader manage conflict and crisis in organization through empathy? And which other strategy can we actually use when it comes to that? Are you there, Dr. Ifoma?
Okay, let me get your question. How can leaders manage conflicts in organizations through empathy, right?
Yes, using the tool of patience, yeah.
All right, so to answer that question, there are several conflict management strategies, but when we want to focus on using empathy to handle conflict within the organization, one of the major focal points of empathy is that you are able to tune into other people's feelings. You are able to understand the perspective of the other person. So if we want to handle conflicts properly within organizations, one of the things that we should endeavor to do is to try to see other people's perspectives. If you're the kind of person that is always insisting on what you know or what you believe, in so many cases, you might discover that you're actually wrong. So in order to handle conflict, we have to humble ourselves, have the disposition of a learner, and we should not have what we call the Messiah's complex, trying to solve the problem for the whole world. We should just calm down a bit and try to understand, why would somebody do this within our organization? Why would somebody take this decision? Why would somebody blatantly go against our policies within this organization? There might be reasons that would surprise you if you are empathetic enough to listen. One thing about perspectives is that when there is a number 6 on the ground, the person in front is seeing 6, the person opposite it is seeing 9. And in this case, both of them are actually right. So sometimes you might need to put a human face beyond your structures, beyond your policies, beyond your processes, beyond the culture that you have. You need to also have a human face, a face that considers people. Because any organization that does not consider their own people, the individuals, the people within the organization, will be an organization that will be high on turnover. You keep losing people over and over again just because you are focusing on the profits, the output, the end result. But if you empathize with people, understand their viewpoints, try to see things from their perspectives, know why they are doing what they are doing, even sometimes understand their temperaments, because temperaments affect the things that you do. It's not everybody that will be bold enough and strong enough to tell us what Dr. Larry just told us this afternoon. Many people in organizations, people who even look like high flyers, are going through depression. And because of that, we should actually be more empathetic to people. And thank you, Dr. Larry, for sharing I believe that it has, somebody like me will be shocked, like, wow, how possible? But then this is something that he has gone through and he has shared with us. And believe you me, there are many people within our organizations as leaders that you might think these ones are high flyers, they are doing well, they're hitting targets, but something is making them feel depressed, and we should add empathy to our leadership in order to be able to solve some of these conflicts, because people do things because of how they are feeling. Long and short of it, we are human beings who are filled with emotions. In a day, we express over 400 emotions in just one day. So we cannot remove the aspect of emotions. And that is why empathy has a strong role to play in conflict resolution. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Informa. Thank you. 400 emotions in a day. Wow. I wonder how many we have exhibited here today. So we would have had a combination of emotions flying everywhere. Okay,
true.
so let me come back to Dr. Ray, his question. And after his question, we'll begin to take the closing thoughts. So the closing thought question that will follow Dr. Bassi is, now with principle of love in place, when should be the best time to fire somebody? But your question will come after Dr. Larry is done. When should be the best time to fire a staff? Or should we, out of love, keep everybody? So that's for Dr. Bassi after Dr. Larry is done. So please, Dr. Larry, over to you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Banito. So for me, I also think that we get it wrong. Love is about the person receiving love. Okay, it's the beneficiary of love that matters, not the giver of love. You see, because the human mind was born selfish. We always think I before others. You know, even like if you get on a flight, they tell you in case of emergency, protect yourself first before you protect even your own infant, your own child. You know, they say it on every flight. You know, and that's because the natural nature of human being is that we were born selfish, and it takes a different level of awareness, a different level of consciousness, a different level of deliberateness to be able to come out of that selfish zone. And it's a battle for so many people, including the person speaking to you. Okay, so for me, leadership is not about the leader. Leadership is about the follower, and I'm not talking about people that have called themselves servant leaders. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, so leadership is about the follower. The same, by extension, the same thing with love. If you've given love, right, by your own definition, and the person receiving that love has not received love, the reality, my friend, is that you have not given love. In fact, the reality is that you've been a selfish person. Whatever it is you've given is love from your perspective. So love is not about the giver. Love is about the receiver. Okay. And for me, I just think I'd just like to answer this question by saying that there has to be a change in mindset about what we call leadership. Is not about the leader, it's about the receiver. There has to be a change in the mindset about what we call love. Is not about the giver, it's about the receiver. And I hope that answers your question, Badito.
Okay, so it's about the receiver, not the giver.
Not the giver.
Okay, so
not the giver.
Help us to understand it more in terms of the role of leaders now, looking at the national leadership. What should be the role of leadership? How should they support, collaborate with MSMEs to make development a reality?
Yeah, so I would go back. I would go back to my interview. I'm sure the one you saw on TV, and I'll go back to it. You know, if you love someone, you will shut up and listen to that person. If you love someone, you will not assume. Listen, we're married. For the people that we love, our wives, the right way to treat a woman is to listen to the woman that you call your wife. You will not assume that my wife likes diamonds, so you will buy diamonds. It is wrong. What if all she wants from you is just for you to wake up in the morning and make her breakfast? And that is what she calls love. Okay. And that's why I said love is not about the giver. So translating this to government, okay, and interaction with SMEs, what I have always said to government is, can government just shut up for a while? Can government shut up for 6 months and not come out with any policies? Just listen to what these SMEs are telling you. Because what has happened, and I've worked with SMEs for 21 years now, what has happened is every time government assumes that they know what SMEs want, is it not Nigerian SMEs? It's money, it's funding. That's the only problem. You know, I have found out in my work with SMEs, okay, that the number one problem with SMEs in this part of the world is not even funding. Is funding a problem? Yes. But is it the critical problem? No. The number one problem is knowledge before funding. So if you claim you love someone and you assume that you know what the person wants and starts to invest in that direction, then it's not love, because you've not asked the person, what do you actually want? So for me, government, leadership, the MSME sector, everybody has to just shut up and listen to the receiver. Which are these businesses? What exactly do you want? Okay. And in listening, you would find out that some of the things you've assumed are probably not correct, and then you'd be able to do the right thing. But like I said, is it easy to listen? No, it takes a deliberate effort to be able to listen. People like to be heard more than listen. So it's that deliberate consciousness to understand that you need to go out of your default state, and that would help. And I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it answers the question in a big deal. It
Okay,
answers
I'm
the
glad.
question in a big deal. So maybe we'll need to start doing some form of advocacy to get the government to listen. I think I'm also a follower of this mindset that the problem is not necessarily money, but something beyond money. I think you've pointed it out, knowledge. So thank you so much for that. Please,
Thank
I
you
will
for
take
having me.
a closing statement from you and every other speaker after Dr. Emmanuel, Dr. Bassi has told us, out of love, when should you fire a staff? Dr. Bassi, please, if you can hear us, tell us, out of love, when should you fire? When should be the best time to fire a staff?
Thank you so much. Nice to hear from Larry again. I hope you have left the shores of Ghana and come back to Abuja.
It's
Because
back to Nigeria.
anytime he speaks,
Back to Abuja, sir.
Okay.
For
So if you're
now,
Abuja,
let me add for now.
okay. I think that is fine, because the 2 times you'll be talking to us from Accra, and now that you are in Abuja, you are close by. Thank you so much.
Thank
Well,
you, sir.
as a certain person, there's no sacking in love or sacking in hatred. When you sack, it's based on precedence, and those precedents has to come with either your attitude, whether your skill is no more needed, whether what do you call it? Either maybe you also misbehave or a form of sanction. So you being sacked, being asked to go, whatsoever, it's not because of maybe lack of love. Anything that is done emotionally, it means you have the issue of organizational processes, as I said earlier, have not just been followed. So if you see anybody that is bringing sentiment or emotional stuff, whether in employment or in sacking, then there's something fundamental wrong with the organization and the managers of that organization. But basically, whatever you're going to do within the cycle of business, that should reflect what the organization is all about and what you stand for. For example, you can even ask the best staff to go. As long as maybe his relevance to the organization is no more required, it doesn't mean anything. But also, how do we communicate it? It also lies with the people in the organization that man the people. How do you communicate it? Some of us find it very shy to communicate hard things. I've had reason as a consultant to go to organization. In fact, there's a particular organization every year, January, if they are sacking people, they call me. And after 1 hour, after 30 minutes, 1 hour, having with all those staffs, on their own, they will begin to sign and resign. I can tell you I've done that severally, and they are happy. And a whole lot of that, I was discussing that yesterday with my driver, because I watched him from that company, and he was asking me how some other lives are. Some of them, they turn to me as mentors, and I've guided them, and they're living their best of life. And they didn't see the organization that asked them to go as a challenge. It's just the kind of people we have, the kind of value system we attach, and then all this mentality of our life depends on this job. When a man have a sense of purpose in life, when a man know where he's going, definitely your work, your lifestyle shouldn't evolve around your job, but your lifestyle, everything about you should revolve around your life, of your purpose in life. And that is most important thing. But employers and managers, we just felt like because we are in a position of authority, we do what we like. We cannot communicate well. We can't do things that is right. And at the end of the day, some people begin to just hate you for no reason. And that is not supposed to be. But that's not where I want to. You took me off balance by asking the question, and I hope I've been to satisfy you. But I wanted to, I was jotting something when all these things were going on, and just add on management love. How do we show managers, or as a manager or management, how do you actually show love to employees when Pastor Ifoma was trying to point out some things? And I write up some things here. I said, the key principles in creating a corporate culture that builds on management love, there are some things that are very simple, that if we put in place, it makes the organization, the employees of the organization to feel among. Number one, inspire to perform. Stop seeing yourself as the boss. Instead, see yourself as a coaching team leader, someone who inspires and cares about the people around you. Never tell your people off in front of others. Like key principle, tell them you are doing well, tell them you are the best, tell them you are this. And at any time you are telling them contrary, they know you are serious. That is, you are showing love. Another thing, listen and act. Frustrated employees are your best source of information. Why? They are frustrated. How can you turn them into your best ambassador? Listen to them. Give them what they need to be happy. Now, as you are listening to them, they are expressing themselves. They do not know those inadequacies. You need them for decision making, for planning. Then you'll be able to inspire. You'll be shocked the result you get. That is the love management can do. Another thing management love is also identifying stars. Every company has people who are best value creators, and that other employees who look up to you. Put these stars at the center of your business. Promote them. Let them shine and recognize them. They should attract more value creators, and together they will spread more love and positive vibe in organization. So if you don't take care of these people, they will leave. I have some few things at hand. I had a good strategy session with a company, and I discovered little things fundamentally that need to be fixed. When you recognize them and you feel, yes, this is it. That's one way. Those strategies we also employ in talent management. Identify stars, show them and know. If not, these days, people don't care. I was having a gist and somebody was telling me that why does he need to resign 2 months or 1 month and give notice to organization? Well, if they will sack him, they don't give him 1 month notice. These are the kind of culture, the kind of employees that we have these days. But when you recognize them, you give them you give them that kind of sense of belonging, it helps. This is the love management can do. Another love management and leaders can do organization is provide freedom. You don't micromanage your employees. If you have given them their JD, you have set the target for them, allow them to run. Then you guide them not to make mistakes. So if you build trust around them, people will take ownership. Let them have that sense of ownership. Let them have front leadership. Let them be owners and CEOs of their department. They will grow and strive as human beings, and as well also give you the best. Yes, they will be definitely make mistakes, yes, but these are important learning culture for any organization. Then another one is to be open. Give constant and constructive feedback. Don't discourage them. Encourage an open and honest dialogue. You are the problem and they are saying, don't see it as a boss or they're trying to expose you. No, see it as a feedback. Who dare to be honest are your most important employees. That's just the truth. So allow those openness. That is another law. Then the last one, so that I will not take us back in the presentation, is be firm and decisive. When you are firm and decisive, it's actually a law. This might sound a bit contradictory, but making decisions is every leader's job. Employees expect that there's nothing wrong with being inclusive, but a leader on the strategy, be clear on direction, and make necessary decisions. Often enough, I was listening to a course just enrolled Sam Adeyemi of recent, and he says something. A manager is the one that gives you every day. You have to clear this bush on the field. You have to clear this. The stone must be there. But a leader is the one that climbs the tallest tree and scan the environment and know whether they are actually need to whether they are cutting or arranging the right field. What does it tell you? Leaders are looking, employees or whosoever that you are leading or mentoring, they are looking up to you. For you to manage or to lead in love, one of those things you provide is also to provide a long-term vision. All you are telling them that their salary will not be paid, their salary will be paid. These are things that we don't need. What we need basically is telling them that this is a future. The future that you have here is great. Don't tell them you are not be able to pay salary, and then tell them sorry, and you are telling you are not. These are not the thing. Give them hope. Give them future. On that note, thank you so much for inviting me today. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basi, for that wonderful tip. And I believe everyone had been learning. Now, as we take the final thoughts, if you've not liked the stream, if you've not shared the stream, if you've not invited someone, please go ahead and do that right now. And in case you're just joining us, I would recommend that you just rewind and listen it through again, because this is a very wonderful session that will provide value to you. So let's go back to Dr. Ifoma. So we take a closing thought from Dr. Ifoma, from Dr. Shati, and then from Dr. Larry, and then we'll be done. Just 1 minute.
All right. As part of closing thoughts, I'd like everyone to know that when in a world that is filled with self-interest, that is filled with high levels of competition, that is filled with profit maximization, leaders, organizations should learn how to show genuine love, all right? To give genuine love to their employees, to the people that work with them, because when this is done, it will increase productivity, there will be high engagement of the employees, there will be commitment, and then they will trust the people that they work for. They will also be happy, happy staff, and there'll be to be a happy and active organization. There'll be more synergy.
I said I'm trying to reply it. That's what I'm doing.
Hello? Dr. Bassi, okay. So there'll be, all right, so there'll be better synergy, there'll be more creativity, the cooperation level will also increase, resourcefulness will be the order of the day. These and more are the benefits of leaders being able to show love in genuine ways to their employees. Let's not take it as just something that happens for the season. Beyond February and February 14th, it should be ingrained into our organizational culture. And an organization that is that has a love-based culture will certainly have positive outcomes. Employees will be happy. Employees will have better quality of life. They'll be satisfied, and they would be the best ambassadors that any organization will have. So let's not treat it as something that happens in the second month of every year. Let's ingrain it into our culture, into our policies. And if by the time we begin to do this, I believe we'll have better organizations, better employees, and a better society at large. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ifoma, for that closing remark. Okay, let's hear from Dr. Oshati. Dr. Oshati, please, if you can hear me, let's have a closing thought from you. Okay, so while we await Dr. Oshati, please, can we have Dr. Larry, please?
Yeah, so my closing remarks, very, very, very simple, and it's a slogan that's going on everywhere in Nigeria. My closing remarks is no grief for anybody. And I'm saying that from the context of I'm saying that from the context of the fact that, you know, if you check everything that I've said, by default, there are certain things that would happen. Okay. But we need to put on a new consciousness. We shouldn't agree with our default setting. We need to put on a new consciousness, knowing that things are not the way they seem, and knowing that leadership is not about us, love is not about us. Okay, knowing that as difficult as it is to listen, we need to be able to create an atmosphere that ensures active listening. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Larry. Thank you. So no grief for anybody this year. No agree on the default mindset of me, myself, and I. We need to go beyond that. Okay, so Dr. Shati, are you available right now? Okay, is Dr. Shati still there, or she's having a network challenge? All right, so we want to appreciate everyone for coming. We want to thank you, Dr. Ifoma, for coming. Thank you, Dr. Shati, for coming. Thank you, Dr. Bassi. I actually gave Dr. Bassi a brief, just about 10 minutes to the startup of this program, and he was able to join. Because he just heard it as we were discussing, and he made himself available. So we really appreciate this sacrifice. This is true love. Thank you so much, Dr. Larry. It's always a pleasure to have you around and learn it from all of us. Thank you, Dami, for effective moderation. And thanks to everyone that joined us this break time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry we took a little of your time, but we promise that by next time, it will be very brief, it will be very snappy and straight to the point. Thank you so much, and see you in our next program. In case you're not yet a member of IPM, please feel free to join us and become a member. That would be a great advantage to yourself. So we drop the links in the chat room, and our courses are starting by March 11th. So we have our executive MBA programs, we have our mini MBA programs, we have our professional development programs. So please feel free to check out our calendar at iipmi.org. You find all of those calendars and then prepare yourself to join us. You will get to have more of these discussions with our faculty. The more you come in to join us, the more you come in to be part of what we're doing. Thank you so much, and do have a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you, and see you next Tuesday.
Bye.